Hello everyone, it's me again, Doc, from Fockers. So, while I finish coloring the new header for our page, I'll answer for the first Q&A, and later on there will be some announcements. To submit questions for future Q&A, you must join on Patreon or Fanbox. Q&A is available starting from the chocolate tier on. So, for the first question, how long have you been doing art professionally? So I started working as a colorist back in 2013 while I was still in school, and started working first for my professor. Then I moved on with another schoolmate, and we did some colors for Zenescope Entertainment. And then I moved to coloring more indie books and other projects like that. Ed instead started in 2018. We both are keeping our daily jobs. Ed still works in an office, and I still have my artisan craft shop. So hopefully one day we may be able to commit to full-time with our page. Second question. Is there any piece you've done that really sticks with you? So for Ed, it's blessing in disguise. I was the one who came up with the idea of the story, but Ed kept expanding it and loves it. You may have noticed that there is a slight change between the early pages and halfway through. There is a slight tone change. For me, the piece that sticks with me, I think, is the other short comic, Better Day as a Lion. I really enjoyed coloring it and working on the design of the characters. I even made it translated to Japanese. I really love that one. I don't know why. Then, another question. Last anime you watched? It's Agretsuko. No, it's a funny one. And I'm watching together with Ed. I like red pandas and metal. It's a perfect match for me. Next question. Okay, is not a question. Nothing special, just appreciate your blessing in disguise comic. Thank you. I'm glad you're loving our product. Last question. Will you guys make any hard book physical copies of your work? I would love to buy a copy from you. This is a hard question. Some days ago, when I first read this one, I thought to myself, no, there's no way we can afford to print our comic or anything. But then I started discussing it with Ed, and we started tinkering with the idea of printing at least a blessing in disguise. And the problem is that for a short number of copies, printing a comic it's rather expensive, and trying to sell it is going to be very very expensive for no good reason, unfortunately. And on top of that, I have to consider also the shipping costs, which are kind of outrageous here. It's especially for books, because they're heavy. It doesn't matter how big they are, but it's more about their weight, and printed paper is kind of heavy, so it's going to cost a lot to ship it around. But at the same time, since the thing that happened on Christmas Day, we believe we're starting to push the idea of printing it. I'm not sure we are actually going to print it, but we are thinking about it seriously now. Okay, for the announcements, first off, there's patrons and people on Fanbox know that something really bad happened on Christmas Day, so we are going to change a bit our schedule, especially for January. Blessing in Disguise won't be published anymore until it's done. We are still working on it, but the usual Friday publication is on hold. We are only going to release it once it's finished. There are about 20 or 30 pages left to draw color, and I think it's going to be done by the end of February, and then we will release it for patrons and Fanbox users, and it's going to be kept that way. It's only for patrons. If you want to read our comic, it's just for them. It will never be released publicly. Next announcement, you may have noticed we have revamped the page and the tiers. So starting next month, there will only be 3 tiers available: Vanilla Hiker, Chocolate Traveler, and Spicy Globetrotter. The rewards have changed also, but if you're in a certain tier now, you will still get your usual rewards. However, if you leave the tier you're currently in to come back later, that tier and its reward won't be available anymore. It's hard to keep track of all the different rewards, but at the same time I don't like the idea of just closing a tier entirely without prior notice. Last announcement, we're going to push the new comic early. It's still in development and was meant to begin in March after Blessing in Disguise was over. But yeah, we decided it's the best course of action. This new story won't be exclusive to Patreon. We decided that the best thing to do is to share it publicly on Webtoon 2, for instance. But there will be bonus and extras available only to patrons and on Fanbox. For instance, everything sexy will be censored publicly, and only paying users will have access to it, and also will have access to polls to drive the story in a different way. Sort of like we did with Blessing in Disguise, but more. Also, on the other platform, the new comic will be shared later. So on Patreon and Fanbox, you can read it earlier than anybody else. So, this is it for the announcements and the Q&A. See you next time. Bye.